The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Adeline stepped onto the crystalline platform. Her boots echoed against the translucent floor, each step deliberate and measured. Around her, representatives from 47 species watched, with curious eyes, some with 3, others with compound clusters that reflected her image 1,000 times over. "You dare threaten us," hissed the Varathian delegate, its serpentine body coiling around its seat. "Your species is barely 3 centuries into space travel. We have conquered systems for millennia." Adeline smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "I'm not here to threaten anyone. I'm here to answer a question." She gestured to the holographic display that materialized above the assembly. "You asked what happened to the Krelll Dominion, the last species that challenged humanity." The chamber erupted in whispers. The Krelll Dominion, a name spoken only in hushed tones now, a cautionary tale that even the eldest species remembered with unease. Ishon stood in the human delegation section, watching his partner work. He'd seen Adeline do this before, the calm before the storm, the way she let her opponents underestimate her. His fingers drummed against the datapad in his hand, pulling up files that had been sealed for nearly a century. "The Krelll," Adeline continued, her voice cutting through the murmurs, "were impressive. Superior technology, centuries ahead of us. They had weapons that could crack planets, shields that laughed at our missiles. When they arrived at Earth, they gave us an ultimatum: submit or be destroyed." The Varathian delegate leaned forward. "And you submitted, as any rational species would." "No," Adeline said softly. "We smiled, asked for time to consider, and began to plan." Ishon activated the hologram, and the chamber filled with images of Earth during the Krelll occupation's first days. Cities untouched, humans going about their daily lives, seemingly accepting their new overlords. "The Krelll thought they'd won," Adeline said. "They thought humans would be like the other species they'd conquered, cowed by superior firepower, accepting of their fate. But they made 3 critical mistakes." She held up one finger. "First, they assumed technology was everything. They didn't understand that humans don't just fight with weapons, we fight with ideas, with adaptability, with sheer stubborn refusal to accept defeat." The hologram shifted, showing human engineers studying Krelll technology, scientists working in underground laboratories, civilians passing information through networks the Krelll couldn't even detect because they'd never imagined a species would still use such primitive methods. "Second," Adeline continued, raising another finger, "they underestimated our capacity for patience and sacrifice. The Krelll expected immediate resistance, a frontal assault they could crush. Instead, we waited. We learned. Every Krelll patrol that disappeared, every supply line that mysteriously failed, every computer system that glitched at the worst possible moment, they dismissed it as coincident." Ishon pulled up casualty reports. The numbers were staggering. Millions of humans had died in those first months. But for every human that fell, the Krelll lost ground they couldn't measure in conventional terms. By the time they realized something was wrong, Adeline said, her voice hardening, it was already too late. We'd reverse-engineered their technology, infiltrated their command structure, and turned their own weapons against them. But that wasn't the worst part. The hologram showed a Krelll command ship, isolated in space, watching as one by one, their colony worlds went dark. "The worst part," Adeline said, her eyes sweeping across the council, "was when they tried to retreat. They sent messages to their homeworld, begging for reinforcements. Do you know what they found when the reinforcement fleet arrived? Silence. Nothing." Ishon spoke for the first time, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We'd already been there. For 3 months, human ships had been systematically dismantling every Krelll installation in their home system. When their fleet arrived, all they found were ruins and a single message buoy." Adeline nodded. "The message was simple. You came to our home, we came to yours. The difference is we're better at it." The Varathian delegate's scales had paled to a sickly gray. You genocided an entire species." "No," Adeline said firmly. "We gave them the same choice they gave us. Submit or be destroyed. The difference is, we meant it. The Krelll who surrendered live peacefully within human space now. They work alongside us. Their children attend our schools. Their scientists collaborate with ours. They're not slaves, they're citizens." She paused, letting that sink in. "The ones who refused, well, you asked what happened to them." Ishon brought up the final imager star system, empty except for designated nature preserves and memorial stations. Complete and utter destruction of their military capacity. Every weapon, every warship, every Triskon. We left their civilian populations untouched, gave them aid to rebuild, and assigned peacekeepers to ensure they could never threaten another species again. "But why?" asked a delegate from the rear, a crystalline being whose voice chimed like bells. Why show such mercy after they threatened you? Adeline's expression softened slightly. Because that's what separates us from tyrants. We don't fight for conquest or glory. We fight for survival, for freedom, for the right to exist without fear. When the Krelll threatened that, we responded with overwhelming force, but when they surrendered, we responded with overwhelming compassion. She turned to face the Varathian delegate directly. So when you ask if we dare threaten you, understand this: we don't want to threaten anyone. We want peace, cooperation, mutual prosperity. But if you force our hand, if you make the same mistake the Krelll made— She let the sentence hang. Ishan finished it for her. Then you'll discover what every aggressor in human history has learned the hard way. We're very good at two things: making friends and winning wars. We'd much prefer the former. The Varathian delegate slowly uncoiled, its aggressive posture deflating. Around the chamber, representatives exchanged glances, recalculating their strategies, reconsidering their positions. Adeline stepped down from the platform, and Ishan joined her as they walked toward the exit. Behind them, the council erupted into heated discussion. But the two humans had said their piece. Think they got the message? Ishan asked quietly. Adeline glanced back at the assembly. They'll debate for weeks. But yes, they got it. Humans aren't prey, and we're not predators. We're something they haven't encountered before. And what's that? She smiled. Genuine this time. Survivors who remember as they left the council chamber, the legend of humanity's response to the Krelll dominion would spread across the galaxy, not as a tale of brutality, but as a warning wrapped in an offer of friendship. Challenge humanity, and face complete and utter destruction. Befriend humanity, and find the most loyal allies in the cosmos. The choice, as always, would be theirs to make. The end.